You're watching Breakfast Central. The presidential candidate of the People's Democratic Party, Alhaji Atiku Abubakar, has, since the February election, of course, he has alleged that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's aides and supporters are telling lies and confusing the public on the certificate forgery allegations against the president. He said since Tuesday, when the deposition regarding President Bola Tinubu's educational qualifications came to the fore in the United States, that there have been several attempts to twist the facts of the matter, which deliberately aim to confuse the mind of the public concerning the matter.
Well, also, Alhaji Atiku Abubakar has filed fresh documents before the Supreme Court, leveling accusations of forgery and perjury against the incumbent President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. The new evidence submitted by the former vice president is rooted in the academic records of President Tinubu obtained from Chicago State University, CSU, and were handed over to Atiku following an order from an Illinois court in the United States of America. Amid all this, the ruling All Progressives Congress has criticized Atiku Abubakar, saying he is on a wild goose chase. Well, we're now joined all the way from the United States of America, Dr. Charles Oludare Marindoti. He is indeed a public affairs analyst. Thank you so much for being here this morning.
Thank you for having me this morning.
All right, great. Let's go straight into this. Being a public affairs analyst and not residing here in Nigeria, but residing over there in the United States, there are indeed claims and counterclaims that Nigerians who are living outside the shores of the country are indeed starting to feel the impact of the questionable issue surrounding the Chicago State University. Can you enlighten us more on that?
I would say yes, truthfully, we are feeling the impact. It's just that the impact that we are feeling is the fact that I think the whole world looks at us funny that we think such a thing as a certificate is an issue. I mean, I think if they are laughing at us is at what the charade that Atiku has made this out to be. Atiku himself is a person who seems to be a confused mind, talking about Nigerians being confused. Atiku is trying to do, the proverbial what they call campaign after election. I thought that was just a saying. I never, would imagine in my wildest dreams that I would see someone try to do that in real life. There is no issue here. This is just a bunch of nothing burger. And the only way I can actually characterize this, which is also something that I feel is shameful, is the degree of comprehension that a lot of the people, both in the media and Atiku's minions, have. Their level of comprehension. If that deposition was a comprehension, passage in WAEC, they will, like the president said during the election, be F level like Atiku Abubakar, because it just shows a basic lack of understanding of the English language. And, they've tried to confuse people a lot. And I can go into the first one that is said, where they asked the registrar, Caleb Westberg, if, and by the way, let me say, Caleb Westberg, I checked his LinkedIn profile. He got into university 2008, graduated 2012. If I had gotten into university and I didn't study medicine, I would have graduated by 2008. That would have been before he got into university. So Caleb Westberg, who is the registrar right now, said that based on their record, they did not produce the INEC certificate, which was a photocopy of a photocopy of a photocopy in 1979, based on their record. And they've tried to say this, they've tried to twist this as it meaning that they didn't produce that certificate. He said in 1979. 1979 is a year. I don't believe I have to explain this. 1979 is a year. There were events that happened in 1979, like the Iran revolution and all of that. So if you say that the Iran revolution did not happen in 1999, does that mean it didn't happen in 1979? I don't understand what they mean. They said they didn't produce that because that was not the design. And now, if that was the only body of information available to us, we can say maybe that caused the confusion. But there's another information that's been always available, which was the fact that there was a man called Abacha, who was a tyrant, who ruled over Nigeria, who tried to assassinate President Tinubu at least twice in Benin Republic while he was on exile and still came back to Benin Republic to keep on organizing to fight him. Twice he tried to assassinate President Tinubu. That man called Abacha also petrol bombed his house. When the Sheikh Tinubu that you see, that you are looking at right now, if you can calculate it, it probably be around 7 or 6 years old then. The current first lady had to be smuggled out with her infant children back then because they were fighting Abacha. That man destroyed the certificate. So if they are, and INEC is, was formed in 1999. So if they had issued, if the INEC certificate had been the same one that was issued in 1979, then should we not go and ask the president, but you said your certificate was destroyed. How come you have it to show? Maybe you have a photocopy or something, that was the one you submitted. This is just basic understanding of basic use of English, of which English is compulsory in Nigeria. I don't understand how they can't simply understand this basic fact. Then I think there was also an issue about them showing the man the INEC certificate, which, like I said, was a photocopy of a photocopy of a photocopy, right? And it could even be longer than that. And then they asked him that, can you verify that Chicago State University issued this certificate, something within that line? And the guy said in clear terms, this is shameful that people maybe the Atiku Mios are blinded by their ignorance, because the president already said they are in college of ignorance. But even people in the media, they asked this guy if he could verify that certificate. And he said, this document is not with us. This document probably was issued based on the design in the 90s, when that guy would probably have been like a 10-year-old or less. So this document is not with us. So we are not qualified. That was what he said. The exact phrase he used, the exact word he used was qualified to make that assessment. How do you want him to tell you that Chicago University issued a copy that you saw an IDEX stamp on it, that you saw a few other signatures? You want him to go and say that was the one that we issued when it does not have the original copy that the president scanned and gave to INEC? Does that make any sense? It is just shameful that we have to talk about all this and we have to make it an issue. This is basic, simple use of English. I understand that Nigeria has failed to invest in education for decades, and we've had generations who are victims of this failure, this decadence in our education system. So maybe that is why they find it difficult to, use English or understand it.
So when you talk about this being a comprehension problem, and you go further in depth to say it's a problem that they do not comprehend or understand English language, I'd like to understand exactly like who you're making reference to. Is it the PDP who are championing this cause, or the millions of Nigerians who are also asking questions, seeking to understand what exactly is going on?
Well, we can say this confusion originated from the PDP, and we live in a social media age right now where, it's like I always say, it's so paradoxical that the easier information accessibility became, the harder knowledge acquisition got. So it's a combination or a constellation of all of this, and even people in the media who are supposed to be perfect use of the language English. The fact that a few people have questions does not make that question valid. The fact that you are asking a question does not mean that question is not.
So the people of Nigeria do not. So the people of Nigeria do not have the right to ask the question. Is that what you're saying? I need you to clarify.
It is not about not having the right to ask a question. I can also ask a question about your sex, that you are a man, that you are a trans woman. And so if you want to prove to me that you are not a trans woman, show out your genitals on national TV, and then we will know that you are not a trans man. That would have been a stupid question.
This it seems like apples and oranges that are being placed here. What I'm asking, I'm going to take that again. What I'm asking is, do the people of Nigeria have a right to ask these questions?
The people of Nigeria have a right to ask whatever question that they want to ask, right? But that does not make the question valid. They can ask if the earth is flat. They can ask if Buhari is a person, if he is Jubril or the real Buhari. That does not make it a valid question. They have the right to ask any question. We are talking about validity and sanity of question that you are asking.
All right,
A school
Mr.
came out
Marindoti,
and said, this person graduated from us. I'm listening to you.
let me ask a question. I hope you don't mind if it's fine by you to answer. What year were you born?
I was born 1989.
Okay, fine. So if your certificate shows that you were born in 1987 and 1989, another one shows that you were born in 1985, do you think I have the right to ask what year in specific that you were born? Do we have that right to ask? Because what you've done is you've also said that the media has also joined in spreading these information. Let's make it clear as well that the media, all right, is a fourth realm. We have the right to carry these stories and seek for answers. So judging the media in this case, I don't think is the right thing to do. Possibly, we just need to find the right answers. And that's what we're asking. And that's why we have you on the show, to see if you can actually give us the answers that we're looking for. And remember that we're also speaking for over 200 and something million Nigerians, I beg your pardon. And also remember that the Nigerians, we can't bring all of them on TV to ask you the questions. And that's why we're asking these questions. So if I'm to go by what you've said, because I took note of some of the things you said the questions didn't make sense. You also make mention and reference that the person who was on the seat, who was being asked by the lawyer, was not born then, it was just a child. Let's leave all of that. I'm going to put on the screen very quickly. I hope my producer has been able to get that. Let's take some time out to look at these. One of the first ones says that the document showed that the president is qualifying certificate from Southwest College to Chicago University bears, of course, a different name. In between, let's focus on that. In between, if you go to the last point, there was a case of Adekunle and also a case of Ahmed. I'm sure you're aware of what happened in Wikipedia on Friday, where the name was changed. What do you say to this? Do you think it is right for us to ask these questions? Why was there a sudden change in the name? I'm sure you also said Bola Ahmed Tinubu, which we all know as the president. Do you think it's right for us to ask what Adekunle is doing there? Is it a stupid question?
Thank you. Thank you very much. Well, I would. It would be unfair of me to say you asking it is you are stupid for asking it. Or that is a stupid question. You have the right to ask. If you said my age changed, and I'm trying to go back from where it started. If you said my age changed from 85 to 89, does that change the year that I was born, or does that change the year that I claimed I was born? Could that not have been a human error? On my mother's national identity card, it has the sex as male. Does that change my mother to a man from a woman? And when you say the media has the right, yes, the media has the right, but there is a process before you get on TV. You have an educational background, so you don't have a passive, psychiatrists call passivity of thoughts. You can actually have your own thoughts and have your own action, have your own understanding of what was said too. So when you talk about Adekunle changing on Wikipedia, there was actually, and I can actually send you screenshots of this, on the night that the election was declared, an aggrieved Peter Obi-fan went on Wikipedia and changed the profile of Alhaji Mahmood, the INEC chairman, and he said he has also been known to have rigged the election in Nigeria. And I went on Wikipedia and I deleted that part. Wikipedia is open source information. Anybody can.
All right, sorry, hold on. Sorry, let me come on that. You said Wikipedia is an open source. That's fine. That's fine. We do know that's an open source. But there is a certificate, all right, that has that name on it, that was tendered, especially from the NYSC, that has Adekunle.
Yes, thank you very much. You called me a name right now. You said Marindoti. Marindoti is not on any of my official documents. That is not my third name. Everybody called me Charles growing up in school. It is only my main family members, because my father named me Marindoti, and it's a pretty unusual name, and people even thought I was going to be ashamed of it. And so on my voter's card, because I love that name, I put Marindoti on there. It does not mean that I I am not Marindoti, or I'm not my third name. So, and in the United States, by default, they don't make you write your full name, your full middle name. Most of the time, it's a middle initial. So you put A there or B there. And when you are talking about age, in the United States also, your age is associated to your social security number. There are a lot of, which is a bad thing, but there are a lot of fraudsters in Nigeria who have committed identity theft, and they will tell you they can't use the social security number to commit identity theft without the age.
Can
So
you
the age
confirm
was, the
exactly?
United States government was not in confusion about the age of the person. That was a clerical error. Even the Caleb Westberg that was on the deposition seat said he himself made a mistake and wrote 1997 as the year Bola Tinubu graduated. Does that mean Bola Tinubu graduated in 1997? He was in exile, fighting for democracy. So these are the things that you have to understand. We can't think Americans. Like I said right now that my mother's NIN had mail on it. You agree to that because you know Nigerians, we can't get it right? Does that mean Americans can't make mistakes because they are white people majorly? No, people make mistakes. It is just a commonsensical mistake that people make. Someone made a mistake and wrote June 27th. How is that an issue? That person probably wants to check the record, wants to produce a wrong document. The quality control or the quality check of the company needs to improve.
All right, I'd like to
corrected.
I'd like to ask you. I mean, you've said that there's been lots. All of this will most likely be mistakes. Would you say that it's been mistakes for the past 23 years? Conversations as to the background of the president have been at the, it's been there one way or the other. We remember that Gani Fawemi started to ask these questions, spoke about it, wrote about it. And I'd like you to make reference to that. When the presidential candidate of the People's Democratic Party was giving his press briefing, part of what he did say was that, he applauded David Hundeyin for the work that he's done, and then also said, made reference to the fact that Gani Fawemi can rest, and the work that he started has now been completed. So I'd like you to react to that.
I will first start by reacting to Atiku mentioning Gani Fawemi. I'm pretty sure when Gani Fawemi heard Atiku mention his name, he turned in his grave over and over again, because I'm pretty sure he was pissed. This is the same Gani Fawemi that berated Obasanjo for allowing Atiku to cut away with Petroleum Development Fund in 2007. That is the same person that Atiku is trying to use for credence gathering. It doesn't make any sense. And this remedial journalist David Hundeyin that you spoke about, as backward as he is, I thank him for the job he has done, because you know what Atiku and Tinubu, and Hundeyin have done is that they've helped Asiwaju validate his records. But what's it called? Atiku was the person that played the most important role in Tinubu's election. You can go and look at the results, and you will see why. And if you look at those CSU documents, there was a CSU document C that showed a certificate issued to someone who graduated April 1979 that had the same design, the same seal and signature as that of the president. And then what they call it again right now, they blocked off the name and all of that. So these are things that Tinubu would not have been able to achieve by himself. He would not have been able to get Chicago State University to bring out the particular certificate they were printing in 1979 to present the ones they printed by mistake for someone, not by mistake, maybe someone who had graduated in 1979, who also lost the certificate and was ordering it in 1990, to show that if they had changed their design or rebranded, the certificate that they are going to issue to you right now when you get in, when you request for it, is going to be the current one. My mother graduated from University of Ife, now Obafemi Awolowo University. She also graduated from the Department of Biology. If she goes, should she lose her certificate right now and go back to the same University of Ife, it no longer exists. So she's going to get a certificate from Obafemi Awolowo University. Also, the Department of Biology is now defunct. It is now zoology or botany. So they are going to give her, based on whatever courses she took, if she took more zoology courses, they are going to give her a certificate from the Department of Botany. They won't go and wake up her dean in 1980 when she graduated to come and sign the certificate right now. It's whoever who is occupying the office. That is why a Caleb Westberg, who was definitely born maybe about my own age, could be the one in the seat of the courts giving the deposition. It is
So are you saying are you saying that deposition didn't hold water? Is that what you're trying to say?
I am saying that deposition is being mischaracterized by people who have failed to understand the use of English. I don't think they are being intellectually disingenuous. No, they just don't have it. That was why the president said they are in the college of ignorance. It is simple English, simple use of English. We did not produce this certificate in 1979, which validates the president's claim that Abacha destroyed the certificate during the fight for democracy that you and I now enjoy. It is simple. It is what I call simple things that simple things fail to get.
Okay. Let's also ask this question. I mean, it's good. One of the points is that, I mean, you're a youth, and most importantly, you also represent a cross section of Nigerian youths who are equally either on social media and are watching this show right now. Don't you think it is very imperative for the president to address the nation or people concerning this? Especially looking at the fact that you're also a public affairs analyst and you know how this is indeed telling in the public eye. We've seen how it's done in other climes where the president comes forward, holds a press briefing, and goes further to explain and quenches or puts to rest this particular issue. Don't you think it's time for him to do that so the youths who are equally watching and every other person will indeed hold what they would term the truth?
Thank you for asking that question and mentioning social media. I really actually duly blame all this thing that is happening on social media. You know, back in the days, we had 24 hours in a day. Very few things to do. Maybe a lot, but not as much as we do right now. Right now, we still have 24 hours. We have TikTok, Instagram, all of that. So the social media has inundated the average youth's mind that they cannot think. You cannot compare the youth of this age to the ones of the era of Martin Luther King. Martin Luther King started the civil rights movement at 24 years old, 25 years old, when they boycotted the bus in Alabama. You see, so if you were saying that the president should come out and address this, just like when I asked if she was a man or a woman, I don't expect her to answer that. That was definitely, I'm sorry, and if you feel offended by that, I really, truly apologize. I was just using it as an example. But, you know, it does not make any sense. There was a case in the United States. How do you think Trump got into the presidency? It started with birtherism. In birtherism also, they said Obama was not born in the United States. And that became a viral thing among the right-wing media on social media until Obama was forced to, you know, go and get his own birth certificate and release it to show the hospital he was born in Hawaii. Because the reason why that was a thing is that if you were not born, if you are not a natural born citizen in the United States, you can't become a president. So Trump was accusing Obama of fraud. But do you know what has occurred in Nigeria? Because the only thing that can validate it, the president has said he graduated there for a very long time. You guys still did not believe him for over 23 years. What else do you want him to come on TV and say? The only thing that can, you know, help him validate it is Atiku, and that is the chase that he has been doing. I believe Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, the sage, sent Atiku on an errand to help him clear the air on his certificate saga, and that is what Atiku has been doing.
Okay.
Atiku is the person that got President Tinubu elected.
All right. I just want to quickly confirm, and I'm glad that we're having this conversation because David Hundeyin will be joining us shortly, and then he can respond to a number of the statements that have been made here. Just for clarity's sake, all the disparities that have been raised by Nigerians as to name, as to the gender, and all of that, you're saying is a mistake and most likely a typographical error of some sort, right?
a clerical error along the line, a combination of multiple clerical error.
All right.
So if the fact that it occurs does not change the fact of the matter, the school came out. There was actually, an attorney general former attorney general of one of the states that went on another channel and was talking about document 26. And thank God I saw that video and I went to check it. They said in that document 26 that the president needed to take some maths and English. The Bola Ahmed Tinubu, whoever you want to believe, owns that certificate, that he needed to take some maths and English. And if you go and check his transcript, you will see that 78, fall of 78, fall of maybe spring of 78, fall of 77, spring of 78, he took calculus, pre-calculus 1, pre-calculus 2. He took composition 1, composition 2. And for you to see that the whole issue of secondary school is so null and void, it's moot, is the fact that he presented a WAEC or WASC Cambridge certificate, but they still made him write English and maths. This is because in the United States, the qualification, not all schools, even in this day and age, you can count the few schools by your fingertips that recognizes WAEC. You probably have someone's cousins or nephews or children that want to go and study in the United States. They all write SAT. SAT does not have an academic requirement. You can do it for you to write it.
Okay, Dr. Charles, thank you so much for joining us. I think would like to put this conversation to a rest this morning. Most importantly, our thoughts are that we do have a youth who could come on the air, especially this morning, to talk about this situation. Most importantly, representing what the minds of other youths are indeed saying concerning this conversation. But then again, like we said, David Hundeyin will be joining us later on, so possibly we'll also get his own side, because he's also another youth who's representing a percentage of the youths as well.
Maybe what would be nice to do is to have a panel where we have David Hundeyin and you in one conversation. That's something we might consider in the nearest future. Thank you very much.
That's if you're open to it.
Thank you very much. And I want to appreciate David Hundeyin for the work he has been doing. He's the one that gave clarity in my mind to the Chicago case about the drug when he brought out the certificate. He's the one that, when he brought out the document, when they went to get it out. He's the one that has also cleared, the air, or his work led to the clearing the air that led to the validation of the president's certificate. So David Hundeyin, kudos to you.
All right. Thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you so much for joining us. All right.
Enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you. Bye.